Today's business news. Hello.
Hello, Jade.
We're going to start with the change at the top of Microsoft.
Yeah, this has been a sort of a corporate guess who game that's been going on over the past year or so, deciding who will replace Steve Ballmer at the head of Microsoft. We now know it's Satya Nadella who's got the top job. He's currently the head of Microsoft's cloud computing division, and he said that he's going to bring a mobile-first and cloud-first approach to the company. He will, though, have the eyes of both Microsoft founder Bill Gates and the outgoing CEO Steve Ballmer looking over his shoulder while he takes over. So how far will that cloud carry Mr. Nadella? Well, Delano D'Souza has been finding out.
He's been a Microsoft veteran for the past 22 years. Over the past 7 months, Satya Nadella led the company's cloud computing offerings, a new area for a company traditionally reliant on software installed on personal computers instead of remote servers. For Microsoft, an appointment from within is unlikely to shake things up.
The heritage that this company has is still very relevant. We have to renew it, we have to do new things, but at the same time, we should be very, very confident in our capability around software as it comes to these new experiences.
Nadella's appointment comes at a critical juncture for Microsoft. The company allowed Google to dominate online search and sat by as iPhones, iPads and Android devices siphoned off sales of personal computers. The company's founder, Bill Gates, will step down as chairman, although he remains on the board and will stay on as technical advisor.
I'll have over a third of my time available to meet with product groups, and it'll be fun to define this next round of products working together.
While analysts see hope in businesses Nadella had a role in creating, he faces the tough task of distancing Microsoft from its Windows platform.
This is going to be extremely difficult for the new CEO to do because the architect of that strategy, Bill Gates, and the implementer of that strategy, Steve Ballmer, are sitting there in the boardroom.
Nadella is joining a privileged group. He becomes just the third CEO since Microsoft was founded by Bill Gates 39 years ago.
Now, Satya Nadella's big challenge as CEO will be, of course, convincing investors that he's going to take Microsoft in a new direction. Let's just take a look at how the share price performed under Steve Ballmer. You can see it fell from a high over $60 back in 2000 and closed yesterday at a value of just over $36. In fact, shares in the company fell slightly after the announcement of Mr. Nadella's appointment.
All right, and what about the rest of the day's markets?
Well, after that massive sell-off that we've seen over the past 2 days, things have improved slightly on the Asian markets today. The Nikkei closed up 1.23% after falling more than 4% yesterday. One share doing particularly well in Japan is Panasonic, which is up over 19% after reporting that it returned to profit in the last 9 months of 2013. Markets in mainland China are still closed for the New Year holiday. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong, though, down today, closing down just over 0.5%.
Again, here in France, questions are being asked about Google and its tax bill.
Yeah, this according to a report from Le Point magazine, which says that the internet search giant could have to pay up to €1 billion in back taxes to French authorities. Now, France has been investigating Google's tax affairs since 2011, and in particular how it funnels revenue from its operations here in France through its European headquarters in Ireland. Now, according to official documents, Google France had a turnover of €192 million in 2012, on which it paid €6.5 million in tax. But it is thought that the French operation actually took in more than 10 times that, and that revenue was put through the Irish operation. Now, France's digital economy minister says there's nothing new in this report of a €1 billion settlement, while the company has said that it doesn't comment on rumours.
Right, there's lots of other company news around today. What else has caught your attention, Stephen?
Well, we'll start with the American bank Morgan Stanley, which has become the latest to settle claims over mis-selling mortgage-backed securities in the run-up to the subprime crisis. The lender will pay $1.25 billion to federal authorities. It comes after last November's settlement by JP Morgan of $13 billion and others by Bank of America and Goldman Sachs. The online video streaming service Netflix says it wants to raise $400 million in new capital to fund its expansion. The operation would help its growth in Europe, including possible launches in France and Germany. It would also be used to fund more original programming like House of Cards, which is just renewed for a third season. And unions of the French haulage company Maury Ducrot have agreed to a restructuring plan which will see more than half of the 5,000 workers there lose their jobs. Just over 2,200 posts will be saved by the plan. Staff at the company have been protesting for weeks over planned job cuts.
Right, finally, the ratings agency Standard & Poor's is under fire in Italy for not giving enough value to the country's culture. How do you value that?
Exactly. Well, Italy's state auditor is now considering legal action against the ratings agency. This because it says that S&P didn't consider Italy's cultural heritage and its value while downgrading the country. The agency downgraded Italy several times during the height of the Eurozone crisis back in 2011. Italy's state auditor says the agency could face a damages claim for up to 234 billion euros because it didn't, in its ratings, point out Italy's history, art or landscape, which are the basis, Italy's Court of Auditors says, of its economic strength. Now, S&P says it's aware of the legal action, but I'm sure it'll be one to watch in the future.
I think they should also take into account the food.
Very important.
All right, thanks very much for that, Stephen Carroll. It's time now to find out what's got the internet